So this is Steve, and I'm here with Ivan Hood, who is a Republican and running for the at-large City Council on the May primary ballot. Ivan, we appreciate your time today. Let's talk a little bit about your campaign and who you are and what you hope to accomplish and things like that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself for those who maybe don't know you?
Thanks, Steve, for the opportunity to share this with you. I'm Ivan Hood. I'm originally born in Detroit. My mother had drug issues, so my grandmother raised me. She came and got me from Detroit when I was just 6 days, brought me back to Fort Wayne, so I've been in Fort Wayne, might as well say all of my life. She raised me until I was about 15, then my grandmother passed. Once my grandmother had passed, I went to live with an aunt and an uncle for a few months. My uncle didn't want me there. Well, it's my biological aunt and her husband, so he didn't want me there, so I've been on my own ever since. I met this guy by the name of Antonio Wallace. He was like a mentor. He was just starting his own business, and I went to work with him. So I ran his company while I was in high school. I went to school during the morning time, and after high school, I went straight to work. I worked 40 plus hours. I worked at least 6 hours after school. Then I worked open and close on the weekends. Once I graduated high school, I started my first company. I started a kiosk in the mall selling belt buckles and other jewelry accessories. After a while, I said, well, hey, I want to get into another field, something where I have more free time for myself. And then I started a construction company, which I'm doing now, where we do everything from beginning to end. I'm enjoying that, been doing that for the last 2+ years. So that's about me, that's who I am, and that's a little bit about me. I graduated from Northside High School, and here we are today. I'm running for City Council at large. I'm running to be a voice for the city. One of the things I want to make sure I do is I want to make sure that the people's voices are heard. I feel like City Council is about the people, and we want to make sure that their voices are heard, so when it's time to vote on any city ordinance or on how to spend the taxpayers' dollars, that the people's voices should be heard. So that's just a little bit about me, and that's some of the things that I stand for.
You mentioned your construction company, and there have been some reports of some issues there. What would you like to say in response?
Well, I like to say in response to that is I'm dealing with an issue now. I'm dealing with an issue where I was never. I give warranties for everything that I do, and I stand behind my warranties. I had a situation where a customer did not call me to talk about the situation, not me on my personal cell, nor my company phone number. And then about 6-8 months later, I'm reading on the blog that I'm being sued by customers that I had no such knowledge of. When I found out the knowledge, I did my own homework, did the research to see what was going on, and then I went to file a motion to vacate that judgment. The judge granted that. I've been talking back and forth with the customers now. We have a meeting scheduled next week to see if we can wrap it up before we go back to court. I believe in customer satisfaction, and that's one of the things that I strive for, because a lot of my work that I do is done by word of mouth. So I'm pretty happy with my business and the way I do business. But it's like this: if a person sits in front of me and I'm doing an interview, and they give me their resume, that's all I got to go off of. And if it's good, of course you're going to hire them.
Sure.
And if you've seen some of their previous work and it's also good, that's even more of a reason to hire them. So when you hire somebody, then they go out and they do work for you, and then they do a bad job, well, it doesn't reflect that guy. That guy, he can go work anywhere else because they don't know he did that. So when it's somebody that works for you and they do a bad job, it reflects the business owner. So that's more where I got to take more of a stance, and I'm dealing with the customer on an issue that I had a worker done a bad job, but that guy, he no longer works for me. But the customer and me, I talked to him today. I think we're going to come to some kind of agreement, hopefully before we go back to court. And if not, we go back to court, we deal with the issue. But whenever you start any business as a business owner, you're going to take risks. That's part of starting the business. And anybody that goes into business and don't think that you're going to run across a problem or a risk or two, they will be a fool to think that. It's like McDonald's. It says over 1 billion served. Well, I've been a dissatisfied customer at McDonald's before, but I still go back through that drive-thru every now and then. So,
sure. Okay. Let's back up just a little bit, because one of the things I didn't hear you talk about was 4 years ago you ran for mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you talk to me a little bit about that experience? I mean, you were what, 19 years old?
I ran for mayor when I was 19. It's one of the most exciting things in my life that I feel like I have done. It was a good experience. I got to make an impact. I got to meet people, talk with people, share some of my ideas, let them know what I stand for. I remember like it was yesterday. I was actually still in high school, and it was actually on my mind. Like, man, I want to run for mayor. I was sitting in a government class. Man, I want to run for mayor, and I mean, it stayed on my mind. I was actually taking a vacation to California, and I'm on a plane, and because I stopped thinking about it for a month or two. So I'm on a plane, and I'm thinking about it. Man, I would like to run for mayor and see what can I do, see how can I work on improving the city, making the city strive once again. So on the plane, I'm thinking about it. When I'm on vacation, I'm thinking about it. On my plane ride back, I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So once I landed in Indy and got back to Fort Wayne that day, I went and filled out what I needed to fill out to run for mayor. Yeah, that was that.
Mm-hmm. You alluded to it a little bit earlier. Why don't you talk a little bit more about why you're running for council?
Okay. As I was saying, I believe city council is about being a voice for the people. I want to be a voice for the people. I think city council is not necessarily about the representative of the district or one of the at-large members. More about the people and how can we make an impact and represent the people the best. One of the things that I want to make sure I do if elected, or I should say when elected, is I'm going to leave my website up. And the reason being is because some of the ordinance or how we're going to spend the taxpayers' dollars, I want the people to know about it, and I want more input. I've been to a few different city council meetings, and sometimes they're not as packed as they should be. So sometimes a lot of people, they miss out on some of the things that's going on in the city, and so what some of the people that they voted in office are voting on. So I feel that people should know, and I want to give an extra opportunity for the people to know, and I want their opinion. I want to know, hey, should I vote for this? Should I vote for this? I'm your representative. What do you want done? So that's one of the things I want to make sure that I focus on as, being a voice for the city. Because as I told you, I believe city council is about the people, being their personal liaison. Mm-hmm. So.
What do you see as the role of city council in city government?
What I see as a role is city council. What a city council rep should be focused on is working on the economic development, seeing what can we do to make our city grow far as giving people of the city job opportunities. We should also focus on enhancing the communities, creating structured opportunities in every community as far as safety, public safety. We want every community. Let's say if I'm walking in the park, whether I'm on the southwest side or the northeast side or the southeast, northwest, I should feel comfortable no matter what side of town I'm on. If I want to walk in the park, so I feel like, we need to focus on those issues, just enhancing the community no matter what side of town you live on.
Mm-hmm. Well, as an at-large councilman, mm-hmm. you wouldn't be responsible for a district. You'd
right.
be responsible for, in mm-hmm. a sense, the whole city.
Right.
How daunting would that be?
I think it's a good thing, simply because, let's say, like, in certain areas, because I am a Republican, in certain areas, we have Democrat candidates. So let's say like in District 5, we have a sitting Democrat on council right now. So let's say if there's Republicans in that area and their voices have been heard because you got the Democrat candidate, he's just strictly for the Democrats, at large Republican representative need to step up and fulfill that seat right there. And say, well, hey, we have other people in this community, and this is some of the things that they would like to see done too, and maybe you should consider that, or maybe we need to sit down together and see how can we implement, both sides to make the city strive more in this area.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a particular district that's crying out for help right now? And regardless of the Democrat or Republican, just looking at what's going on in the districts.
The 6th district. I mean, if I was to say anything, I would say the 6th district. You look at a lot of the murders that took place last year. I mean, you ride through the community. I mean, I think that the 6th need a little help. I think that we need to see what can we do as far as promoting more economic development in the area. I think wherever there's an area where there's jobs and people can go to work and they can bring home money and take care of their family, for the most part, people are happy. I think a lot of people are down and sad when there's no money coming in.
Sure. Any concerns about moving the police station out of Creighton Street back downtown?
As of right now, no.
Okay. You've mentioned a couple times economic development. How do you see City Council is playing a role in the economic development?
That's part of the City Council's job. I think far as companies being brought here, or far as how we're going to spend money or how we're going to invest in the companies, the City Council votes on how much money we may give to this company and stuff like that. I feel like that's a big part that they play in.
Okay.
Or what contracts that the city may give out to this company or that company, as far as city funded jobs.